Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Let Us Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys are having a great weekend. I'm here with an up-and-coming entrepreneur. This gentleman's name is Dalyn. What's your last name again?
Allen.
Allen. I'm terrible with names, so my apologies. So anyways, thank you for doing this interview. We're basically going to talk about what people should know before they move to the DMV. But before we get started, Dalyn Allen, could you please give people a little introduction, why you live here, and when did you move to this specific area?
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Good evening, whatever time you have. My name is Dalyn Allen. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I moved down to Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia, in 2015. I moved to be closer to a different environment as far as work and just kind of get a different experience beyond Baltimore. Yeah, the culture's different, but it's no place like Baltimore. That's always where my heart is.
Especially good food and people a lot more personable.
Exactly.
And
the
things
arts,
of that nature.
the craft, the city, Baltimore is in my heart every day.
It has so much more to offer than, of course, what the negative media would tell you. Because
Yep.
you got to go
more.
to a place to really see it for yourself.
A lot more.
Never take the media's word for it.
Exactly.
But that's my personal opinion. All right, well, thanks for the introduction, sir. So let's get into it. So why did you decide to move to the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, a.k.a. Northern Virginia?
Well, I decided to move to Northern Virginia just to kind of be around different job opportunities.
Okay.
I saw myself just working to kind of gain some skills around data analytics, and I just saw that opportunity there. They didn't have that many opportunities for that specific task in Baltimore.
Okay.
So I reached out. My friend's still in Baltimore. Family's they're still there, so I'm back very often.
Okay, and the beautiful thing is it's not that far. It's correct me if I'm wrong. Where you reside, it's about what, an hour and a half, if that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, depending on traffic, obviously.
Exactly.
But, so it's not like you moved like to the deep down south or to the West Coast or anything of that nature.
That's right. That's right.
So for the most part, there's little differences and intricacies and whatnot when it comes to DC and Baltimore. But I can understand how it always feels like home. Even when I get to the West Coast, Northern Virginia will always be my home. I'm always going to have some sort of connection here. I'll just be looking at palm trees and beautiful beaches at the end of the day, but that's just a personal thing. So next question, what year did you move to the DMV area?
I moved to the DMV area in 2015.
Oh,
it was
nice.
August of 2015.
Okay, nice.
Yep.
Nice. So you've been here for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, about, 3.5 years now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you're more familiar with the area. I'm pretty sure since you grew up in Baltimore, you probably used to come back and forth all the time, right?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, because it's not like it's that far away from here or anything of that nature. And we have a lot of people from Baltimore that live in this area, and they bring a lot of great culture and different perspectives to the DMV, and which makes it all the different spices even that much more better of a place, because that's the one thing I can say I love about this area. You have people from all over the country and all over the world that do reside here. So it is probably one of the most diverse areas as compared to Florida, New York, and California, and Texas, and any other part of the United States. And that's what I love, because that's what I grew up around. All right, next question. What did you expect to encounter when you first moved here? For example, cost of living, traffic, culture, or lifestyle?
That's a great question. When I first moved to this area, I expected high cost of living.
Mm-hmm.
I expected a lot of happy hours. I expected a melting pot of different cultures.
Okay.
I think
understand that.
that's exactly what I got.
Okay.
Especially the happy hours.
Especially the happy hours, especially the traffic.
Yep.
Notice how you have to focus your whole life around the traffic.
Yeah, they say people from Baltimore can't drive. That's not true. The best drivers I know come from Baltimore. It's the people who migrate to DC and Virginia who can't drive. There's so many people, so many different laws, so many different violations going on. Especially the Uber drivers. It's insane, man.
Yes.
It's insane.
Yes, the Uber drivers, the Lyft drivers, they will run you off the road, and it's like they're in a race against time. I'm like, you're going to get paid either way.
Exactly.
I know you got to rush and get to the next big job and whatnot, but you're going to get paid. You've been paid already before you even get there, for God's
Exactly.
sakes.
And the crazy thing about it is, like, not only are DC traffic lights and laws different, like, hard to abide by, but once you have an Uber that stops like right in the middle of the street, yeah, that's a problem. I'm surprised more people get run over.
And that's, you know what, it's amazing. You're right. A lot of people do not ever get run over. There's more car accidents than anything else, but you're right. They'll stop in the middle of the street. People who are walking, especially in DC, they will stop in the middle of the street. Like, yeah, I know I'm in the middle of the street. What are you going to do? Hit me? It's like they dare you to hit them, for God's sake.
Yeah,
like, what is
and
going on?
And they're trying to be Baltimore-ish in that aspect, but it's not the same vibe.
It's not.
It's not the same
So
vibe.
speaking of the vibe, what is the difference between the vibe there and the vibe here?
Because the vibe in Baltimore, yeah, people don't cross the street and they're going to take that time. However, we both know that if I hit basically I hit that person with my car,
Right.
there's gonna be an issue.
Absolutely.
Likely a violent issue. However, if you hit someone with your car in DC, they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna see you." Like, not if I pull off quick enough.
Yeah, everybody has that by the book mindset,
Exactly.
and obviously that's because of what is it? Because of the big government culture and all that good stuff. So it's interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
So let me clear the camera up here. But yeah, it's because you have a lot of. That's why it's called this area uptight country, because most people have an affiliation with the federal government somehow, some way. So they're always walking around extremely overly conservative and scared every single word that they say and how their car looks, their house looks. Like you feel like you're in the 8th grade or 9th grade and whatnot, because it's like a high school competition. Sometimes it just makes me laugh, but I could ramble on and on all day, and I know we have things to do. So let me go to the next question. So since you've been here, what has changed in the DMV as far as people, particular industries, mindsets, or anything of that nature?
Well, that's a great question as well.
Thank you.
So when I first moved down here, Barack Obama, he was president. And a couple of years ago, you know the date.
Yes.
Donald Trump, he was elected president. The vibe here has changed to be more, it's less diverse and inclusive when it comes to like the metro settings and just different like events. It's more so a cold war between liberals and conservatives.
Agreed. Agreed.
The vibe, it's tense. And it's kind of difficult to kind of navigate the situation, but you can easily cut the tension with a knife.
And you know what? It's amazing that you said that, Dalyn, because I couldn't agree with you more. I notice anytime I go to DC or closer to DC, it's the tension is just, it's very much higher. People do not want to interact with one another anymore as much as they used to. And everybody's really picked their sides on, if you're not a liberal, I cannot talk to you. If you're not a conservative, I cannot talk to you. And it's just like I always say, it reverts back to high school. It's ridiculous. Whatever just happened to being a decent person. If you're a decent person, I can talk to you. If you're not, then if you're a conservative, great. Just be a decent person. If you're a liberal, great. Be a decent person.
And I'll even add to is that catching the metro now, or even walking down the street, back when President Barack Obama was in office, people walk down the street and kind of move out your way, like move shoulders. That way you don't basically bump shoulders.
Common courtesy.
Common courtesy. However, that's not the case anymore. It's more so someone's looking for an issue or something to bring up in a moment's notice, and
you're right.
It's really interesting to see.
You're right. The tensions are much more higher, and that's, you even see it via social media and on the news. More and more incidences are occurring. It's not just the fact that they're being recorded. It's just the fact that like people are on code, and they're ready to go. They're lock loaded, ready to go. Whether it's with a gun, with their hands, whatever kind of weapon you can think of, they're lock loaded and ready to go. And it's just kind of sad, because it just makes you not really want to socialize as much as you used to, because you feel like something may occur and it's not your fault. I don't know about you, but I'm never the one to look for trouble. So, and I would imagine you're the same way. But it seems like trouble is actually looking for people nowadays.
Yeah, you're right.
For no reason. And you're right. Ever since that's one of the biggest things that's changed a lot. And I noticed people look a lot more miserable now than they did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And I was like, I don't understand that either, but that's just, there's so many ways to speculate on what that reason may be. So, I guess that kind of segues into the next question. Do you feel that the people within this area are very friendly, personable, or very standoffish?
It depends on who you ask.
Okay.
And kind of the circles you're in. Within the street, metro, people really standoffish.
Got you.
However, if you kind of find your niche, find your groups, find kind of what you gravitate to, whether you're within a southern group or within people who just enjoy a good time.
Got you.
Those people are more personable.
Okay.
And then those people, they pretty much come with different backgrounds, different perspectives, but it's all from a wholesome and a welcoming place.
I can understand that.
So it depends. It depends.
Okay.
So certain circles are really inclusive, really inviting, really open.
Got you.
But others just daily walking, they're really tense. Even within the working environment, it can be diverse but still tense.
Very much so.
There's a need for diversity, but not necessarily the desire.
I see. I see. And especially within this area, because the federal government has such a big influence.
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of old bad habits and old traditions, they really die hard.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why a lot of millennials and younger generation do not want to have anything to do with working for the federal government, because they don't want to feel like they're working in a prison, one.
Yeah.
And two, they want to have a little bit more freedom and leeway, possibly chances to, especially depending on their job skills, have a little bit more options to work from home. So they don't have to be stuck in the office for 8 to 10 hours out of the day, sitting in 2 hours worth of traffic. It's like, this doesn't seem like a very appealing lifestyle. And that's one thing I admire about the millennial generation. We're not really chasing things. We're chasing adventures.
Yeah.
We're chasing beautiful lifestyles. We want to have a life that we don't have to vacation from.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot of money to go on vacation, and it takes time away from your work. And then obviously the last day I'll end it off with, I'll say, I don't know about you, but I like to actually do things that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
Not just feel like I'm just working at a job. I feel like, especially at this point in my life, I've done that. So I want to move on and, have more adventures and be more passionate, and somewhat make a difference if possible to help others, because it's not all about me.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that's my perspective on that one. All right. So let's move into the next one. Now I know that you grew up in Maryland, and now you reside in Alexandria. But I would like to know why you chose Alexandria as opposed to living in Prince George's County or living within the Washington, D.C. District.
That's easy. That's really easy.
Oh, that's easy? Okay.
Yeah, that's really easy.
What's up?
I would love to live in PG.
Okay.
But the Metro didn't go out there.
I guess.
Yeah. At the areas I've looked at, my Metro didn't go there.
It's still sad to this day in 2019 why there are not enough Metro lines within Prince George's County.
Yeah.
Especially given the fact that the National Harbor is there now.
Yep.
And it's growing.
Yep.
And given the fact that, Amazon is coming to that area, there's going to be need for more. I mean, it's coming to Northern Virginia, but still it's going to be more of a need for access to Prince George's County. Which is one of the rich, correct me if I'm wrong, one of the richest African American counties in the United States.
That's true.
So there's money there.
That's true.
I'm just saying,
True.
So anyways, so thank you for that.
I'm not in DC because DC is crazy expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. When we were younger, DC was not as expensive as it is now.
And it's crazy because coming from Baltimore, growing up in Baltimore, it's more so, hey, DC, we don't really associate with them.
Exactly.
But had I known what DC was and how similar it is to Baltimore, like, I would have been here pretty often. It used to be called Chocolate City, man. Like,
used to be is the operative word.
I missed out on that. I missed out on that.
Yeah, you did. Oh, yeah, you didn't get a chance to really come down to during that era.
I didn't.
Yeah, that was a great time to be in Washington D.C. because it was just the magic. I mean, yeah, there was crime, but there was crime in all major cities. So during the 90s, let's be realistic. That was just a time period where the crime was out of hand on all aspects in all major cities across the United States. But there was a lot of black-owned businesses. You had literally we were the majority in that city. The Go-Go's, oh my God, it was insane. The vibes, the culture, it was so less uptight. That's the main thing I missed about that. And that's why I don't really go to DC, because it's such an uptight culture now, but it was just so less uptight. People were just a little bit more friendlier, it still had that wholesome aspect to it.
Yeah.
And then obviously different generations play a big part in that at the same time. But yeah, that was one thing. It'll never be the same again. It's kind of like, certain cities have their own spice, and DC's lost. It still has a little bit of it, but it doesn't have it like it used to be in the 90s. Like that was the time when DC had that spice that, like, it's the same thing in Baltimore. You can't take that spice away, because then, that's what New York is happening in New York City. It's happening in Los Angeles. Unfortunately, it's happening in Miami, New Orleans. A lot of major cities are being gentrified, and they're losing that original spice. Because to me, and please correct me if I'm wrong on this, it just seems to me that they're trying to make all the cities turn into Tyson's Corner. If you really just analyze it, and I'm sorry, I don't want the whole country to look like Tyson's Corner. I'm not big on being around snooty people. It's wrong, but hey, I'm just going to give my opinion on that.
I'll say Tyson's Corner, that's a stretch, but I get it.
But you get, it's not 100%, but that's somewhat the direction they're going.
Yeah.
Not if you know what I mean. It's just like they're trying all the major cities. It's like they're buying the properties for cheap, and then they're just raising the price of rent to where average working people can't afford to live there anymore. Yeah. And it's just crazy. And when I say not like look like Tyson's Corner, but the snooty population of Tyson's Corner.
Exactly. I get what you're saying. Yeah, Texas corn doesn't have much spice. It's a lot of
It's very dry.
very dry. It's kind of bland.
Yeah, it's bland. That's why I never go. It's like
It's a lot of expensive stores.
yes, overpriced.
Overpriced.
Yes,
It is. That's the flair.
that's the flair. That's it. Nothing to it. And they're trying to, especially with a lot of these, town, quote unquote, town centers.
Yeah.
Like where we're at right now, they're trying to do the same thing. And it's just like, stop this really. But I could go on. And I know you got things to do and I have things to do. So let's move on to the next question. What advice would you give to any people, future individuals thinking about moving to the DMV area?
That's another great question. What advice would I give to individuals who are thinking about moving to the DMV?
Mm-hmm.
First, check your motivations. 2, make sure your funds are in order. Had I known what I know now, I would have paid off all my debts first and then bought a house in this area.
Smart.
3, be willing to get out your comfort zone. The things you experience down here are going to be like no place else. Some for the better, some for the not so better. 4, be willing to socialize. 5, find your niche, but be willing to experience and try out different things. 6, have a friend with a car. Because a lot of the events that happen, such as Leonore or things that happen out in Columbia, the Metro doesn't go there.
There you go.
But you have a lot of fun. 7, get an Instagram, Facebook, social media. Because every good event, well, not every good event, but a lot of good events, you'll get connected through knowing about those.
Absolutely.
I think that's...
That should do it.
I'll stick with that. I think
Okay. Those are great.
But the first 3, key.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that one. And 2 more questions. What kind of networking should future DMV individuals get into?
The type of networking that you should get into is around your career. A lot of people think that meeting people and knowing people is networking. Yeah, that's true. However, if they're not quite in your if they're not really in your industry, or if they're in a different lane that you're not willing to go to, you just met a great person. And that's nothing wrong with that. However, if you have a career goal and have other interests, network and meet those individuals, because that's how you're going to pretty much grow your real working network.
Absolutely.
It's great to know people across industries. That way you can connect someone else, connect a new friend, meet new people, and actually enjoy people for who they are and not look for to come up. Just be a genuine person. But being a genuine person won't really work out in your career or your endeavors if those are misaligned.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. And finally, what kind of new developments do you see happening within the DMV, and what kind of new developments do you see happening in the future?
So I'm going to answer this question this way. The new development I see is the constant development that's already here.
Okay.
And that's growing the value of the area. The government doesn't really change. The only thing that really changes with the government is who's elected, who's in office.
About the size of it.
Right. The government changes, we got a much bigger issue going on. But the constant development is always the growth of entrepreneurship, the growth of value, monetary values, the growth of spending. Those things are always constant. Prime example is Amazon's coming to the DMV, and
absolutely,
some people are going to be transitioning and changing jobs. So that job changing, that's always constant. Absolutely. But it's more so, what's the new thing?
Okay.
And government is never really a new thing. So the consistency of the government and the constant growth of companies.
Absolutely.
Those are the kind of the things I don't really see changing, but it's always new.
Got you.
Does that make sense? It's evolving.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Well, I appreciate you doing this video with me, taking time out of your busy schedule, sir.
Thanks for having
Hopefully
me.
we can do another one soon, and good luck with your future entrepreneurial endeavors. I know you're going to be a rock star, and I'm looking forward to seeing it, and hopefully we can do some business in the future.
All right,
brother. If you guys found value in this video, please give it a like, please share, please subscribe, and I hope you guys have an amazing weekend and keep striving for your dreams, goals, and aspirations. Take care.